So welcome back to the Whitehouse farm. What we're going to be working on today is we're going to be removing this starter here. So we're on the lake and we noticed that it started making some really funky crunching noises, and then when I went to go turn the ignition key, there was nothing. And so what I did, I went ahead and just jump the starter. And to do that, all you do is just grab a screwdriver or anything, and then you connect these two together like this. And when I did that, it worked, but trying the key, it wasn't working. And then the starter was making some really funky noises. And it sounded like really bad, like grinding and all that stuff. And so I knew that the starter was going. So let's go ahead and take this starter off, and we'll go ahead and match it up with a new one. And while we're at it, I might even replace this coil, and might even throw a new alternator on, just so everything's new. So we'll see. But right now we're going to start with the starter, and we'll go from there. So let's get that thing off there. Okay, so with like the coil and the points and all that other stuff, make sure you go ahead and disconnect your battery first. So let's disconnect that. Okay, so now that's disconnected. We're gonna go ahead, and it looks like it's just one bolt here for the starter, right up here. I don't see anything else. So let's go ahead and take that off. And it's gonna be a 7/16. All right, let's go ahead and disconnect these wires. Okay, so we have the main battery wires off. Let's go ahead and get these other two off here. Okay, so now we got all the wires off of the starter. Let's go ahead and remove the starter. So you got these, you got the one nut there that I took off, which actually slips into this. So this is the main bracket that you're gonna have to take off. So let's get that off. It looks like a 14mm. All right, now I can pull the bracket off. Okay, so now that we got those bolts off, the wires off, let's go ahead and remove these two bolts that are holding the starter in. And that's gonna be a 3/8. So you don't have to remove these two bolts to pull the starter apart. I did to give me more room, and so I could reach the back two bolts that are the main bolts that hold the starter. And unlike a vehicle where they run horizontal, the two main bolts run vertical, and the one bolt is going to be extremely long. The head itself is probably going to be like an inch long, so it may throw you off if you can't see, and you have to just use like feeling. So it might feel like it's part of the starter or the casing, but that's actually one of the bolts that you remove. And there's only 2 of them, one on each side, and once again they run vertical. Alright, so let's loosen up now. Now we get this one. Okay, in the back behind the starter up there is this one big bolt you got to take out. Okay, so apparently that long bolt or long nut is the second nut. The other one was over in here, but that long one is what we got to take out. It's going to be a 15 millimeter. Holy cow, look at the size of that bolt. Alright, there we go. Got the starter out now. Oily, sweaty, messy, but let me show you. So the starter sits back in there like this, and it's got this giant bolt on the one side and then this other one over here, and this one was able to find right away, but this one threw me off because it was so long. Like I was expecting to find, you know, just a short bolt, tip bolt, but look how long that is. But that's what was holding that in, and that's why I took off the rest of the starter to try and see what I was looking at. But we got it all out now. So there's the, oh, that fell down in there. So you don't have to take it all apart like this if you find those 2 bolts there. So remember, it's a long bolt and then a short one on the other side, and they go from down to up. So we got that off now. All right, so now we can go ahead and get in the shade for one. Whew. And we could start looking to see if we could find a starter to match up with it. So it's so hot out, like 92 degrees right now. Love doing this stuff in the heat. But all right, so stay tuned. We're gonna go ahead and find that starter and go ahead and get it in there. And it's gonna be a lot simpler going in now that we know where the bolts are and how to take it out. So remember, 2 bolts, one on each side there. All right, so we finally got our starter in, and there's the part number for it. And you want to make sure you get a marine starter. I know there's a lot of old timers that say you can use the car starters in here, but really, with the power and stuff that you need for in here, and unless you want to fire, I really suggest getting marine grade parts for your boat motor. But anyways, that's the part number from Quicksilver, and there we go. There is the new starter. So that's what we needed. And this thing was super hard to find. Luckily, my local dealer, Anderson Boat, I'd like to thank them They actually were able to find this starter motor for me because the original Delco Remy motor starter that was in there is obsolete, and the two after that they made are also obsolete. So big thanks to those guys at Anderson Boat. They're really awesome. If you can, try to support your local boat dealers and them. That way you get the right part and for the right application. You don't want to buy something that's, you know, seems cheaper but ends up going to start a fire on your boat. So better to have the right part in there. So that's the starter, and I think it came with, yeah, well, that's pretty cool. It came with some new bolts. Oh wow, a new mounting bracket with the bolts and nuts for the mounting bracket. And let's see here, even came with, I think these are, what, directions for it? All right, so it tells everything that's in it. Yeah, even gives you a diagram on how everything goes on here. So that's pretty cool. All right, so let's go ahead and get this new starter in. All right, so there's the old bolts, and then you could see why that would throw you off. Look how long that sucker is. So when you can't see it and you're reaching under it, it feels like it's just a part of the starter, but man, that's kind of funky. So all right, so we got the new ones, so let's go ahead and we'll go ahead and put the starter in. Okay, so we got that all mounted on. We got the two bolts on. We can go ahead and start putting the wires back together here. Okay, let's go ahead and just clean these up, give them a quick. So now we can go ahead and connect all of our wires here. So first one's gonna be this yellow one, and that's gonna go over here. So, and this is the new nut that it came with. It's actually a lock nut. It's got the plastic on the inside. All right, next we're gonna go ahead and put on this yellow with purple wire, and that one is gonna go right down here. Okay, next we're going to put on this yellow and purple wire, and it's going to go right there. Alright, got that on. Now we're going to put these two on there, and also our power wire. All right, so as you can see, we got all of our wires hooked back up. So now we can go ahead and reconnect our battery over here. All right, the last thing to do is to put on this bracket. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and attach the bracket. The hole down here is gonna go through here. And then this is gonna line up right on there on the motor. And they gave you a new screw for it, but I also got the washer and lock nut that I had on the old one I'm gonna put on. All right, so that's on there, and now I just need to put a nut on the end of here. All right, so that's all connected now. Got the 2 bolts in the back, got this back up, got all of our wiring. So let's go ahead and hook up the battery. All right, so she's ready to fire over. I don't want to do it without hooking water up to it, so let's go ahead and hook water up to it. But one last thing that I want to point out with this new starter, because the other ones, all the original Delco Remy ones are obsolete, you'll notice that these ones, there's a little bit of a gap in between here. So that's the only thing I could see about these new aftermarket starters. But you know, so you just gotta be aware of that. If you notice that, I guess it's normal for the aftermarket. Unfortunately, it's not sealed, or at least, you know, closed off, so it's, you know, you don't have water splashing up in there. But I guess it is what it is when you have older boats. So all right, let's go ahead and get this up and get some water running through it and start her up. All right, so let's go ahead and fire her up. All right, volts are going up, fuel. Bam. First try, fires right up. All right, so it's all set now. The new starter's in and we're all set to go. So I hope you guys like, enjoy, subscribe, and we'll see you on the next one. Bye.
You can't say goodbye without saying goodbye to me.
All right, Olaf. We'll see you on the next one. All right, bye, Obo.
Bye, guys.